Hello everybody, and welcome back to Jake's RC Stuff. And I don't know if there's actually going to be anything in the background of this video, or if it's just going to be black, and you need to treat this like it's a radio show. But I just want to sort of discuss some maidens that happened recently. I've actually been flying twice now this year. This is amazing, compared to... I hadn't been flying this year for quite a while due to just the weather in the UK being awful. I don't think I'll be the last person. It's been raining quite hard all day. We've just hopefully had our last bad snow of the year. But on a fairly windy day, quite cold day, I decided that I wanted to go flying just to sort of test some of the planes that are ready for maidens. So I went up with 4. The first one that I flew was the Durafly HyperBipe. I'll try and, with this, try and leave some links in the description either to the planes or whatever. And the HyperBipe, I'll be honest with you, it was too windy for that. It flew quite nice. If you're not sure what the HyperBipe is, it's just a foamy biplane from Durafly, Hobby King. I didn't do anything on this channel really with it. I sort of showed it when I bought it, 'cause it's part of a Hobby King sale as one of our mailbag episodes. But since then, it's not really had anything done to it. That's just reminded me. Give me 1 second. Let's type this in. Video for commenter. There was someone who left a comment asking for how the camera fits in the Durafly Tomahawk that's currently sat on a shuttle, waiting for batteries to arrive for it. But yes, so I flew that. It was a bit windy for it. It flies very, like, considering how windy it was, I couldn't really tell if it was smooth or not. So anyway, I flew that, and I decided it was too windy for it. Decided that'll be it. It flies, excellent. So the next plane that I moved on to was the Avios Extra 330 LX. So I sort of did all the non-FPV planes first, and that was really brilliant. That coped with the wind quite well. It was incredibly punchy on 4S. One thing I have noticed is on the 3300s that I bought, I flew it 3D for 5 minutes. Actually, on the second day, which I will get to in this video as well. I flew it for 5 minutes 3D, and it was at 12%. I landed at like 5 minutes 45. So if I was going to, and the batteries for that are all the way at the front, if I was going to purchase it again, and I still might do this, I would go for the 4000s, if not the 5000s, just to get some proper decent flight time in there. And honestly, I think the plane can handle the weight. I know the CFG certainly can. You just need to move, probably just need to move it back slightly. We do have some 4000 4S, so I'll give those a try. I don't think we've actually got any 5000s, but we'll gloss over that. But yeah, we then went on to the first FPV Maiden, and actually the first one with the new 9XR, not 9XR, 7XR. What the hell's my radio called? 7XS? The blue FreeSky one with the operated gimbals. First flight with that, fine. I actually flew the micro Skyhunter, and it was an absolutely brilliant plane to fly. I can't remember if I FPV'd it. I don't think I did. I think I was leaving FPV for that day. I just wanted to test and make them fly. It was incredibly cold. But it flew nice, flew decent, quite quick on the setup that I've got. It's by no means setting world records, but it's decently quick, quite quick. You know, it's certainly, like, there's a point to do fast low passes and things with it. It's not something that's sort of puttering about like a Bixler or something is. So that was great fun. Flew that for a little while, landed it. Yeah, that needed barely any trim, I think. I think it needed a little bit of down. I also realised at this point that I'd accidentally turned the trim noise off on the FreeSky Tyrannus 7S, whatever the hell it's called. So that was fun. We then flew the S800, and if anything, that needed even less trimming than the micro Skyhunter. And actually, I must have FPV'd them. I did. I FPV'd the micro Skyhunter because I FPV'd the S800. And even though they're exactly the same setup, same camera, same antenna, same set of goggles, same transmitter, same, not exactly the same battery, but you know, same 4S power setup. I lost the picture on it. The picture was awful. Like it didn't like. We have a relatively small sort of flying area. All the we've got plenty of areas we can fly, but the actual field that we're in is relatively small, or what we consider our field. And it really didn't leave much of that. I ended up losing picture, and I actually had spotters at this point because I was the only one that flew that day, I think, actually. And I went with my dad, and there was also someone else who came up then. And I was saying I've got no video, and sort of in the panic of attempting to take, they could see where it was. As I was sort of trying to prepare to take my goggles off and take manual control of it, I decided to try doing loops, because usually, like, if you do loops, it more or less just stays in the same place. What I didn't think about was the fact that if it was on its side, it would just sort of go into a spin, and apparently it went into some weird sort of semi-flat spin, but still going fairly quick. It was sort of like a flicking spin, like it would have taken a while to get out of it if I'd have taken my goggles off. And I heard it sort of wang, 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 as it was, I presume, heading for the ground, because that's where it ended up. And it basically ended up hitting into a giant slab of solid limestone. And all it did is it snapped the wing. All it did, which sounds like quite a lot, is I think it's knackered the cheap camera in the front of it. Like to a point where they're so cheap I'm not sure if I would trust it. The lens is in a bad way. I don't think the glass is the glass might be cracked. I need to check it out. I honestly haven't really had a look at it. I just picked it up and that was it. So the camera is damaged. It knocked off one of the fins, the wingtips, and it's also separated the it's cracked the wing in half, but it's sort of down the joint of where it glues together. So it might be a case of like the goop plumbing glue had sort of got off a bit before I stuck it all together. And also the super glue didn't look like it had bonded very well to the carbon rods. So I think if the carbon rods would be bonded better and things like that, I don't think it would have actually broken. So that's still, it was still sort of in one piece. I mean, the only piece that came off was the canopy. That just pinged off. I had taped that on as a precaution. And the wingtip, it's still sort of in one piece. It's just cracked. Can see daylight for it. It's not just gently cracked. So that needs gluing back together. I'm trying to work out what the hell's wrong with the video on it, because Micro Skyhunter was fine. So that was interesting. And then we move on to day 2, and it was sort of a remaidening. I sort of mostly flew, obviously didn't fly the S800, that wasn't fixed yet, it still isn't. But I flew the HyperBipe, and I was having issues with this, because I would trim it, because it was slightly out of trim, I presume because of the wind. And then you'd stick it into a prop and do 3D, there's a bit of wind there, so it would sort of blow past you as it did it. You would then come out into level flight, and it would roll to the right as if it had down in. So I landed it, tightened everything up on the elevator and rudder at the actual elevator and rudder connections with the little 2mm grub screws, or 3mm, or whatever they are. Tightened all them up, flew it again, trim, 3D, same issue again. Tied it up near the servos, because I remember that they weren't that buried. There's a little hatch underneath you can just take out. Flew it again, same thing. So what I'm going to try is I'm going to try some new servos in it, see if that fixes the issue, because since I've now read reviews on it, because I bought it without really reading any reviews, possibly a mistake, they do say that you're going to be wanting to swap out the servos in it. Luckily I got mine quite cheap. It was for like 54 quid in a sale at Hobby King. And the actual servos in the centre, they're just screwed in, they're not glued in, so it's not going to be a mess of ripping them out. So I'm just going to take them out. Shouldn't be too hard, as I say, just 4 screws to take both of them out. Put in probably, I've got like 2 more MG90 official Tower Pro ones I can try. Put them in, see how they work. But to be honest, if that doesn't fix the issue, I don't know what else it could be, unless the actual whole airframe is like bending. But hopefully that'll do it. It's just a case of the servos in it are really crap. So that one was sort of put to bed at that point. Continue to fly the extra from Avios. That's a brilliant plane. That it's certainly worth the £175 I paid for it. At 225, which is at what is it at the moment on Hobby King? Let me have a look. Hobby King. Wait for it to load. Oh, come on, intermission, while I wait for this to load. It's currently at £231.82. It is on the more expensive side, but in my opinion it's absolutely worth it. I've literally changed nothing on that plane. Not the prop. As I say, what I suggest is get these slightly larger capacity batteries. I think on a 2800 you'd only fly for like 3 minutes. So I would say 3300 is your absolute minimum, because as I say you can fly it for 5 minutes on that, but you probably want to look at a 4000 or a 5000, and I think it will take the weight. Complete standstill on a hover, full throttle, comes straight out. Something I did do on mine, I'm not sure if I actually mentioned it in the review or not, was I turned my high rate elevator up to whatever the maximum radio would do, like 225 or whatever it is on the Futabas, because that's what I use for regular planes. Taking the side force generators off every time is a bit of a nightmare with the screws. Whether they'll stay on, I'm not sure. I might try flying them without the side force stabilizers in, because it's incredibly stable in a Harrier. Even with no elevator to ailerons, to have both ailerons up with the elevator, or elevator to flap, some people call it. It was incredibly stable, because I haven't actually programmed that in yet. So I might try it with the winglets off, see if it's fine. If not, just leave them off, cut off the little bit that fits them on, just to save putting it together. It is one of those things where, obviously, you know, maybe at 10 flights, a servo knackers up in it or something like that. But it's nice, it's quiet. I haven't had to go around tightening everything up or modifying anything. Yeah, I literally don't think I modified anything on there. If I did, you've got the build videos you can go and look at. But yeah, that's been flew that twice, no issues at all. Also had a couple of flights with the Skyhunter. Actually, someone who was there was looking at the 5.8 stuff that I was using, just to see what it's like, and has actually since gone and bought my diversity receiver and a couple of aerials for his. Slightly different setup to mine, but there we are. I'm flying that around, I'm doing low passes. There was a bit of wind, so downwind passes were slightly quicker. It was just a big old load of fun. But from the first flight, pretty much all of these planes are a little bit twitchy. They all need a little bit of calming down. Skyhunter was one of them. It needs more calming down. Because I was coming along, and the way I usually have my planes trimmed when they're designed for speed, so your fun jets and things like that, is I'll have them so they'll always steadily descend. Because the idea is it'll always come down when you're doing a fast low pass, and then when you get near the ground you just need to breathe a little bit on the elevator to keep it level. That's why I have mine set up. That was not the case with this yet, because it's still sort of tuning in, and it is slightly harder to trim an FPV when you're not looking at third person compared to, you know, the greater horizon behind you. I put a little bit of down in. Happened to be quite a lot of down, and it hit the ground. And one of the strangest things I've sort of witnessed from FPV is usually when they hit the ground, you sort of either you lose video, which is what happens most of the time, or it's just sort of like grass is all you can see. The only ones that have ever been slightly different is either I've FPV'd in mid-air with someone, like, and you see the two, you know, you see the other plane sort of maybe flopping around trying to stabilise itself and things like that. You know, sort of the accident happens, and then there's further FPV flight before it hits the ground. Well, with this, I'm doing a low pass, put a little bit too much down it. The Skyhunter hits the ground flat and level, which was lucky. And what I believe happened more than anything was that the battery came off the Velcro and slipped out the strap, and actually went forward, not sort of forward and up, because the damage that's happened is it's basically burst the complete top of the fuselage of the Micro Skyhunter. Now, to be fair, it doesn't look like there's much glue on there from the factory. That's a factory glued thing. That's not my fault. Because what I actually saw in the goggles was sort of maybe a second of blackness, or maybe I blinked. I'm not sure. And then what I actually saw was the plane, like from a third person's perspective, the plane and the motor disappearing in the opposite direction to the plane. Obviously what must have happened is the motor got shut out the back when the frame split open. The battery must have come out the front, and because of the way that it's wired up, actually kept going with it still connected to the camera. So I actually saw the plane for like a second or two, because it sort of hit the ground, bounced, and then when the bits hit the ground the second time is when I lost video. But that was very strange, seeing your own plane crashing from third person when you were just flying it. But yeah, there's nothing really issue with that. I've just got to... the two things it did is obviously it's damaged the front fuselage. I actually ordered a spare. That's 15 quid. That's really expensive for what it is from Banggood. I also chucked in the... also need to glue in the motor again, of course. But another thing it did, sadly, was it stripped the elevator servo. Banggood don't seem to... If they've got them in now, the day after I ordered some different ones, I'm going to be very annoyed. They don't seem to have the official Ishin 5 gram ones. Skyhunter. If they're in stock, I'm going to be uber pissed. Really? Okay, so the short ones are under restocking. Oh, that's really fucking annoying. I might order 4 of the long cable ones, if it will let me. Okay. Well, here I am, I'm buying stuff. I actually bought some other ones from, I believe it was Banggood. Some Tower Pro ones. Banggood. Let's have a look. I've got so many Banggood orders all of a sudden. My orders. I'll let you know what the number is, because there needs to be 5 gram ones for the Macro Skyhunter. Yeah, I got 2 lots of 4 of the Tower Pro SG51R. They're plastic gear, but they're from Tower Pro, and they you know, the 9 gram ones are decent. So we'll see how they are compared to the actual Ishin ones. But I'm gonna order the long ones. Yeah, why not? Okay, so we'll get this popped through. You see, ordering on the fly, that's another £9.56 out of the old PayPal account. So yeah, I need to order some more of those. Which I've actually got some Tower Pro ones on the way. I've now got some official ones on the way. So that needs for that to repair back together again. So yes, currently all of my 5.8 stuff is out of action. Also working on other planes, of course. Got the Tomahawk. What's recently just arrived is a spare Macro Skyhunter. That I actually put a picture up on Ragnar's off group. And on the new Jake's RC Stuff Facebook group, announcement, that, I've lost my fucking train of thought. Oh, that the biggest compliment you can give to a plane is when you buy one as a spare, which I think is fairly true. And there we are, while we're on this video of darkness, I've just ordered some more shit from Banggood. I did like a bit of a stock take and ordered some more stuff from Banggood. Also got an order from Hobby King, not the ones containing the Tomahawk batteries, sadly. I think they're coming from Europe. But that was a mini Skyhunter. Not Skyhunter, a mini Skywalker, sorry. The motors and a spare for the My Twin Dream. Speed controller, 2 speed controllers actually from a Bushmule or whatever the one before it was. They were cheap as a spare, and I'll use that in the My Twin Dream. Saves on a bit of soldering, a couple of old tricopter frames, because I always enjoyed tricopters. They were some of my favourites. The Aerostar programmable speed controller, program card for speed controller, should I say. And a couple of long-range receivers, one of which went immediately into the Tomahawk. Yeah, and I ordered semi by mistake. I was led to believe that the Sonic model Nano Skyhunter, so that's the same as the Micro Skyhunter from Ishin, just Sonic model, call it something different. I thought that was EPP, similar to the ready-made RC Nano Skyhunter. Not the case, that's just regular EPO like the Ishin one is. Came in a very similar box, different colour scheme, but I'm pretty sure the boxes are the same dimensions. Actually, I prefer the colour scheme on the Nano, I think. It's nice blue hexagons, if you've not seen it before. Got that from Hobby RC? Is that what it's called? Hobby RC? Check phone, because I got a message when it said it was delivered. Yeah, Hobby RC in the UK, 30 quid they're on sale for, so that was only like 20p more than Banggood. Paid some for DPD shipping. But yes, that's there. I am actually trying to calm down on the bigger boxes. That's why I want to get this My Twin Dream started. Actually, I've got the bachelor to do. I have many things. Many things to do. But yeah, this was sort of a rambly thing that we've rambled on about. So yeah, that's nice. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, apologies for the blackness, but I need to just get these videos done, I'm afraid. But yeah, thank you for watching. Click the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Any comments or feedback other than the screen's black can be left in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll try and leave links in the description to all the planes I've talked about today, and things like the Tower Pro servos I got instead of the Eachine ones. And we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, thank you all for watching. See you all in the next one. Bye bye.